We would like to start Foreign Minister IWAYA's regular press conference. Minister, the floor is yours. Thank you for joining us. At the outset, I have two announcements to make. First, today, Minister of State Aitaro from Palau Republic, with him I had a foreign ministers meeting in January. I visited Palau when President was inaugurated. Ever since then, this is the second meeting in 1 month. On the 12th, Japan-Palau top leaders meeting took place. Building upon that, I feel that we were able to deepen the tokubetsu relationship between Palau and Japan. Palau is an important partner to realize FOIP, F-O-I-P, and we would like to continue to closely collaborate with Palau. Next, starting today, I'll be visiting Munich, Germany, utilizing this opportunity. In addition to G7 Foreign Ministerial meeting, we are planning to hold the Foreign Ministerial meeting among Japan, the US, Republic of Korea. The security environment in the region is becoming increasingly severe, right? We would like to reaffirm Japan, US, ROK will continue to be united in leading efforts towards regional peace and prosperity. That's all from me.
Please raise your hand if you have a question, and when you're called, please approach the microphone and ask your question after stating your name and affiliation. Noda-san from Nikkei. Baba from Nikkei. The foreign ministers meeting between Japan, the United States, and ROK, foreign ministers, and I understand that you will be holding a joint meeting. You have met with both of the ministers beforehand. What is the relevance of the meeting, and how do you plan to maintain your cooperation after the inauguration of the Trump administration? The foreign ministers meeting between Japan and the United States was held, and we have also had Japan ROK foreign ministers meeting, and therefore I have met with the Ministry of State, Mr. Rubio, and Cho Tae-ol, Foreign Minister of Korea, and we have confirmed the importance of collaboration between the three parties. At the Japan-US Summit meeting, we confirmed that the three-country partnership between Japan, US, and ROK in order to maintain peace in the region to address with North Korea is important. The three foreign ministers are going to hold a meeting, a joint meeting, on this occasion after the inauguration of the U.S. administration that Japan, the United States, and ROK will continue to collaborate in building a peace and prosperity in the region. It is a valuable, therefore, opportunity. Strategic collaboration between the three countries are more important than ever with a heightened security relationship in the region. Upon this view, we would like to take specific steps in order to address the situation. I want to make this a valuable opportunity.
Next question, please. NHK, Yonezu-san. NHK, Yonezu. Next month, TPNW, Third State Parties Conference will be held about the participation of Japan as an observer. The government policy hasn't been clearly stated. In the past, the government said that the government would be validating the participation of other countries, and then what's the validation status, and are you going to participate as an observer? About our response to the TPNW, regarding those countries who participated as observers, the history behind that, each country's internal politics and diplomatic and security-related issues and the relations to allies, we have been collecting information, not just public information, but from each government and validating them. Concerning the TPNW State Parties Conference, as you know, June 2022 and November 2023, the meeting was held twice. At the time of the meeting, those countries who were considered, who participated as observers, who were having alliance with nuclear states and considered as being under the nuclear extended deterrence in the first meeting, Germany, Norway, Belgium, Australia, the Netherlands, 5 countries. In the second meeting, Germany, Norway, Belgium, Australia, 4 countries. Now, these countries participated as observers. Regarding the process and history, depending on each country, there were various different circumstances. For instance, if you look at Germany, Belgium, and Norway, after the general election, in establishing the coalition government for a coalition agreement, the policy of participating as an observer was incorporated, as I understand. In the case of the Netherlands, at the parliament, the motion to demand the participation as an observer was passed. Now, the Netherlands, after the first state parties meeting from the foreign minister, based on the participation experience this time, it would be meaningless to further participate as an observer. That was the letter addressed to the Speaker of the lower house, and the Netherlands did not participate in the second meeting, as I understand. As for Sweden and Finland, only in the first meeting they participated as observers. As for Finland, before the second state parties meeting, their accession to NATO was approved. Sweden was sending an application to participate in the NATO, but this TPNW, they published that it would not be consistent with the obligation coming from becoming a member of the NATO. At these state parties meetings, what has become clear? Let me explain that. Those countries that are under the extended deterrence by NATO, generally speaking, they emphasize the support for nuclear deterrence. And this TPNW is not consistent with each country's security policies. And they also said they will not become parties to the TPNW. For instance, if you look at Germany in the very first meeting, they say they were making full commitment to NATO's nuclear deterrence. Germany will not participate in the TPNW. That's their announcement. Also, concerning these countries, they made a statement that NPT was a cornerstone of the international nuclear disarmament and non-proliferation regime, and emphasizing the importance of the NPT. Through this validation, in addition to what I have just shared with you, we were able to obtain various pieces of information. Given our relations with those different countries, there are certain pieces of information that we cannot elucidate to the external community. I hope you will understand. To judge whether or not to participate as an observer, in addition to what I shared with you, on the impact of the security of Japan, how it should be, and also as the only country who suffered from atomic bombings, in order to see the substantive progress in nuclear disarmament, what kind of efforts will be truly effective? That needs to be considered thoroughly. After comprehensively and carefully considering all these matters, as for our response to the third state parties meeting, we would like to have an appropriate judgment.
Next question from Kyodo Press, Sakaguchi-san, please. Sakaguchi from Kyodo Press. Thank you for taking my question. My question is with regards to President Trump's statement. He has signed the execution memorandum in order to issue the reciprocal tariffs. He has made instructions to the Secretary of Commerce to look into non-tariff barriers such as subsidies and regulations. And there could be impact onto Japan and the Japanese economy. What are your views on this? The reciprocal tariffs to be introduced in the United States that you pointed out, and I am fully aware of this announcement. Upon this announcement, we have already started communication with the U.S. side. For Japan, we will specifically look into the substance of the measures that will be taken, and we'll look into the impact and take appropriate measures.
Next question, Gigi Tsushin, please. Kawakami, Gigi. About Ukraine, I have a question. The other day, U.S.-Russia top leaders' telephone talk. This was held. They agreed to start the negotiation for ceasefire in Ukraine. President Trump said there is only low possibility that the Ukraine would regain its territory before the annexation of Crimea, including whether you can actually accept the ceasefire without such a recovery. What's your take on this? Regarding President Trump's statement you mentioned, I'm aware of that. As for various movements, the current movements concerning Ukraine, as the government, we are monitoring this with a high level of interest. We have also been collecting information. On this matter, at the international community, discussions are ongoing at the moment. So for Japan to express a definitive evaluation, I think it's a little too early to do so. For the realization of the fair and lasting peace in Ukraine as soon as possible, we would like to closely collaborate with the international community.
Next question, Yomiuri Shimbun, Kamimura-san. Kamimura from Yomiuri. A related question. MSC, you will be attending the Munich Security Council. What kind of statements do you plan to make with regards to Ukraine on that occasion? As I said, with regards to various movements that are taking place around Ukraine, the Japanese government is monitoring the developments with great interest, and we are gathering information. And the involvement of Ukraine is very important in order to ensure long-lasting, just and long-lasting peace as soon as possible. Sovereignty and territorial integrity is extremely important. That is the view of the Japanese government. And so based on that thinking, I would like to engage in discussions.
Next question, IWJ Hamamoto-san, please. Good morning. IWJ Hamamoto. As was mentioned, President Trump met, and the U.S.-Russia relation may change dramatically. Japan, during the Biden administration, you followed the weakening of the Russia strategy. And now there's a new administration, the 8.8 billion yen, the support was given to Ukraine. If the situation dramatically changes, will Japan change the posture 180 degrees and try to improve the relations with Russia? Russia invaded Ukraine. To respond to this matter, the dialogue between the U.S. and Russia is of great importance. As the government of Japan, we are closely monitoring the situation. As I have been saying, on the part of Japan, the fair and lasting peace, the realization of that lasting peace in Ukraine is important. With G7 and relevant countries, we would like to closely communicate with them and work towards that end. As for US-Russia relations, there are many issues between the two countries. While our bilateral relations is in a difficult situation, Russia is a neighboring country. We need to communicate with them. In the entire diplomacy of Japan, what would benefit Japan's national interests? From that perspective, we would like to pass appropriate judgment.
Next question, Kim-san from Mainichi. I am Kim from Mainichi. So this is a question on TPNW. As I have heard, it seems that you are making progress in the verification of participating as observer. Can we say that you have come to the end of that verification? And based on what you have learned through information gathering, will you forego? Will you not participate as observer? Is that how you are contemplating at this moment? We have not reached a conclusion yet, but the elements that I have mentioned earlier will be looked into, scrutinized comprehensively, and also into details. And when the third meeting of state parties are to be held at the beginning of March, and by then, we believe that we need to come up with a conclusion.
Next question. Yes, Kim-san, additional question? In relation to that, so far, participation as an observer, whether to do so or not, those discussions have been taking place, but this time, once again, you embarked on the validation. What's the significance? And also the backdrop of TPNW, the NPT regime is weakening. And the nuclear disarmament negotiations, arms control that's so slow in progress. On those matters, what is your take, Minister? We haven't reached a final conclusion yet. At the stage of reaching a conclusion on all those matters, I would like to share them with you. In principle, nuclear state, non-nuclear states, both are participating in the NPT. So within the NPT, we would like to play a role of bridging nuclear states and non-nuclear states. We believe that is important, and that's what we have been trying to do so far. So including those, we would like to consider them and then pass a judgment, and then on that occasion, we would like to give you explanation.
Next will be the last question, Asahari-san from Pan Orient News.
Thank you, Asahari, Pan Orient News. Japan, in the last 2 decades, has been asking for the help and support of successive American presidents to help bring back home the Japanese abductees from North Korea. American presidents have promised to help, but nobody was freed. President Trump seems to be taking a different approach. For example, with Hamas, he threatened to turn Gaza into hell if the Israeli hostages are not freed by this coming Saturday. So my question is, does Japan, based on the alliance with the United States, want from President Trump to make a similar approach, threatening to turn North Korea into hell, for example, if the Koreans don't free the Japanese abductees by a certain date or deadline? Thank you.
At the Japan-U.S. summit meeting, immediate resolution of the abduction issue was taken up, and Prime Minister Ishiba called for a continued understanding and cooperation to President Trump. And President Trump has expressed full support. This is a big outcome. And this, I think, contributes to our own initiative in addressing the abduction issue. Japan and the United States has a very strong relationship of trust and cooperation. And under the leadership, realizing an early return of the abductees, all the abductees as much as possible, is something that we are seeking in order to address the various challenges associated with North Korea. Prime Minister Ishiba, and under his strong leadership, the entire government is united in seeking for an effective measure. With support from the United States, I think Japan should lead the way and to resolve the matter. With this, I would like to conclude today's press conference. Thank you.